When a dumb barista sees all the red flags from her psycho new boyfriend but chooses to ignore it, she later finds out that he was rizzing up her mother, which almost cost her her life. The story begins at the music store. At the Krolinals music store, Blaine sits there alone, penning a letter while mimicking the writing of the person he intends to impersonate. The guy then proceeds to clean the store floor and a mic to remove the evidence of the attack he just committed. He proceeds to his car where a woman's body is inside the boot. He shows regret that things ended on such a deadly note as he removes a ring from her hand. Elsewhere, mother and daughter Sandra and Sophie are getting interviewed for a feature story for a newspaper. The reporter is interested in Sandra's struggles as a single mother on a low income and how she rose with her daughter to open a quality cafe. The name Sweet Surrender pays homage to their love for old school movies. The reporter ends the interview by taking a picture of them holding some of their cakes to tie everything together. Sometime later, the story is finally posted in the local newspaper. Blaine lurks outside the cafe shop looking at the paper, happy to have found his next targets. Meanwhile, inside the cafe, Sandra's friend Ange comes in with some more wall art for the place and notices that the business is slow and wonders if they would still need her help as a server. Sophie brings forward the idea of using the local social media influencers to promote the cafe, but her mother thinks that it will be too expensive. She suggests that they go old school and make coupons that they could distribute. As they go through the list, the two are distracted when they hear singing. It piques their interest, so they make their way outside to see who's busking in front of their shop. They meet Blaine, who stops and apologizes for disturbing them after confirming they are the owner of the cafe. He prepares to leave, but they stop him from packing and ask him to at least finish his song. As he continues to play, a crowd starts to gather. Sophie uses the opportunity to hand out samples while the people listen. By the end of the performance, they start to get packed with customers. They thank him for gathering the crowd, and he starts to flirt by thanking them for not kicking him out. He officially introduces himself and lays on the charm even thicker by assuming that they are sisters. Not sure if it's an insult to Sophie for looking old or a compliment to Sandra for looking young, but mother and daughter take it as the latter and laugh it off. They invite him inside for a free coffee, so his plan to make contact worked. As he sits by himself writing a song, the ladies are excited because of the lunch rush they just had. They discuss the potential of having Blaine play live music in the cafe, but the two dismiss it, assuming that he's busy, plus they don't know him. He brings the empty cup back and thanks them for the coffee while also complimenting their pastries. As he and Sophie converse, it is revealed that he's on break from work and plans to stay in town for some time. The young girl bites on the bait and asks if he could play at their cafe. They even offer to pay, but he feels bad taking their money since their business is still in its infancy. So the singer decides to play, but requests that he put a tip jar as a means to gather compensation. The mother and daughter are happy with that arrangement, so they seal it with a handshake. Later, the ladies have a night in to celebrate the business picking up. All the while, Blaine watches them intently from the window. On a later day, he waits behind a lamppost Starker style watching the cafe and pretends to bump into Sophie by accident when she comes out. This leads to him offering to help her distribute flyers for the cafe, which gives him a chance to build rapport with the daughter. She pleads with him to give their business a shout out on his social media, assuming that he has a large following, but he alerts her that he doesn't use social media. He comes up with some nonsense reason why he doesn't have one. They decide to take a break at a bench where he continues to be pleasant, but almost blows his cover when he reveals some information about the duo that would indicate he knew about them before their meeting, but he explains that her mother mentioned it in conversation. He plants the idea of wanting to settle down from his nomadic lifestyle, which catches Sophie's attention. After their interaction, she stares at him with lust while he performs. Meanwhile, in the back of the shop, Ange suggests that Sandra make a move on Blaine, but she thinks that he's too young for her and warns her friend not to try and play matchmaker. Ange asks Sophie for her opinion on the singer. She answers that her mother would kill her if she dated an older guy. But the friend alerts her that she was talking about him dating Sandra, so Sophie answers saying she does not mind if it will make her happy. The mother alerts everyone that they can only admire him from a distance. Closing time approaches, and as they clean up, Blaine sneaks into the coat room and takes a look at Sophie's ID to find out her star sign. He comes back out to a cake of gratitude from Sandra, which he enjoys and flirts with her a little. The singer blames his flirtatious nature on his Leo star sign, which intrigues Sophie because she too is a Leo. He then proceeds to alert them that he feels like he's a part of the family and drops a sob story about how he lost his family in a house fire. This moves the mother and daughter who promise to help support him. Sandra makes her way to the back to start on the dishes, while Sophie cleans up the rest of the tables. Blaine offers to help and manages to manufacture a romantic moment with her. He then volunteers to help do the yard work for them when he overhears the mother and daughter worrying about how they are going to do it. The following day, he's given access to their house while they work at the cafe. The guy uses it as an opportunity to gather more information on the two. He takes pictures of their schedule and removes a photo of the mother and daughter to keep as a souvenir. He then makes his way to Sandra's room and finds that she has joint pain before moving to Sophie's room, where he looks through the books that she reads. The singer quickly returns to work when he sees the daughter pulling into the house. She arrives to meet him dancing with earphones on, but he knocks her over when she gets closer to him, pretending he didn't know of her presence. She cuts herself, so he takes her inside where he tends to the wound while building some tension between them. She gives him his lunch, but he insists that she joins him, so they move to the living room to eat. Blaine performs the cheesiest setup for the kiss, but somehow it works. Sophie pulls back, thinking that he had eyes for her mother, but he reveals that he has eyes for her and just had to let it be known. Sophie accepts his love confession, but they are interrupted when Sandra calls. She has to go, but alerts Blaine that they should continue things later on, but she pleads with him not to let her mother know, because she will not understand. He vows to keep it as their little secret as he pinky promises her. Their little romance continues with them sending each other cute messages and pictures. Even during work, the two can't keep their hands off each other as they sneak some intimacy while Sandra works in the office. He later joins the mother in the back where he sees that she keeps the login details of their supply ordering software under the keyboard. He pretends he needs to use the computer, and when she leaves, he logs in and changes the order. After work, he surprises Sophie by waiting for her. They go for a night stroll, which causes her to miss her movie night with her mom. While out, Blaine continues his deception by dropping a quote from the book she's reading and proceeds to finish off his sob story, revealing that he was picked on by his family too. He advises Sophie to push to be more independent when it comes to the business before she heads home. Sophie arrives to find her mom grinning at her phone. She quickly heads off to bed while texting someone. Later on, Sophie walks into the cafe to find Blaine massaging her mom's arm. She feels uncomfortable and calls her mom to have a private conversation. There, she reveals that some ingredients are missing from the order she placed. A little tension starts to build between the two, so she just asks her daughter to manage with what is available, as she has an emergency appointment. While she goes to the back, Blaine comes to make things worse by advising Sophie to express her frustrations to her mom. She's more interested as to why he was touching her mother like that, but he assures her that he's only trying to make a good impression in preparation for when they make the revelation about their relationship. They cut their conversation as he leaves with Sandra. When they get out of sight, he puts his hand near Sandra's lower back. One night, Sophie meets up with Blaine at his house where he sings her a song that he wrote for her. She stops him before he finishes and they get busy. The following morning, she wakes up to the singer in the shower, so she decides to take a peek inside his notebook. She sees a newspaper clipping on the published story about their cafe in there. Blaine rushes over to snatch it and admonishes her for looking through his things. He quells her suspicions of why he has it by stating that it is because of his admiration for her, so she thinks nothing of it. A few months have passed since their secret romance. The singer gives her a necklace, and she alerts him of her wish to let her mother know, but the guy tries to dissuade her, which works for now. She rushes back to the cafe where Ange has been inundated with customers, so she was forced to call Sandra to help. The mother and daughter get into a fight as the tension built up by Blaine finally pops. All the while, the singer sneaks into the office from the back and is caught by Sophie while he's taking pictures of their recipe book. He lies that he wanted to surprise Sophie with her favorite dessert, but she's in a rush, so she believes him. Later that night, the mother and daughter apologize to each other and come to a compromise on how to move forward with the business. Sophie stays back late to close up. She comes out to Blaine waiting for her. They have a little chat where she expresses her wish to tell her mother about their relationship, but the guy tries to scare her that their mother will not approve of them. He confesses that her mother has been trying to make a move on him, mistaking him trying to win her approval as flirting. This devastates Sophie, so to protect her mother's heart, she breaks things off with the singer. As time passes by, her mom reveals that she's dating someone but doesn't reveal the person. Blaine notices that Sophie is starting to get suspicious, so he sneaks into the coat room and gains access to her phone again. That night, Sophie decides to follow her mom and finds out that Blaine is the mysterious man she has been seeing. She walks in on them but can't say much because her mother doesn't know that she has been dating the singer for the last few months. Sophie storms out of the building upset. Blaine follows her and explains that Sandra was there for him when she broke up with him, but Sophie doesn't fall for it as she remembers her mom saying that he has been dating her for the last couple of months. They only broke up a few weeks ago, but he gives some useless excuse. Over the next couple of weeks, Sandra notices that her daughter is being a lot more distant, so she informs Ange that she might end the relationship with Blaine, but her friend talks her out of it. The mother later has a deep conversation about how she loves the singer, which forces Sophie to keep her relationship with him a secret because she sees her mom finally happy after so long. Blaine comes in and interrupts their conversation, pretending as if nothing happened between him and Sophie, which makes her angry and uncomfortable. He later sends her a text asking to have a chat with her when she's free, to which she agrees. That night, she turns up at his house where he tries to rekindle their relationship, but after one kiss, Sophie comes to her senses and alerts him that she has to tell her mother about everything. Blaine gets aggressive, warning her not to mess things up. He also reveals that he deleted all her messages on her phone, so there is no evidence. She promises not to say anything so that he can allow her to leave safely. Now that she has seen his true character, she proceeds to find out more information about him by creating a fake account pretending to be the singer. Sophie streams from that account to see if anyone will recognize him. The singer starts to play the song he wrote for Sophie, but he's now performing it for her mother, like it's something new he prepared for her. After the mini concert, the couple sit, and Sandra is worried about her daughter because she's not acting like herself. Blaine starts his manipulation and somehow gets her to agree to marry him. All the while, Sophie is at the back office, and the fake account gets a message from Penny stating that she has been looking for him and wants to know why he has stolen her song. She also wants to discuss an incident involving someone called Camilla. Blaine goes to the back office after Ange informed him about the fan page. He tells Sophie to delete it and threatens to show her mom the pictures she sent him when they were dating. It carries more weight when he reveals their engagement. Sandra walks in on them, and they switch to happy mode. Sophie is forced to congratulate them, but thinks everything is happening a bit too quickly. Blaine cranks it to 100 and suggests that they get married that weekend. The daughter tells them that she has the perfect gift, but has to take the day off to go pick it up. The following day, she makes her way to a different town in the area to meet Penny. She arrives, and it's the same music store Blaine was clearing up evidence in earlier on. Penny alerts Sophie of how the singer was dating her and her sister Camilla at the time by charming his way into their lives using the same format. It is revealed that Penny told her sister about everything she found out, but Camilla responded with a note and has been gone for months without any contact. She went to the police, but they had no leads. Blaine found the mother and daughter the same way he found the sister, through a feel-good story in a newspaper. Sophie starts to piece things together and calls her mom to meet her. Later that night, she goes to the bakery expecting to find her mother, but Blaine emerges from the darkness. It was he who messaged her about the meeting time and place. She begins to confront him about everything and brings up the sister's case. This gets him mad as he blames both sets of women for seducing him and starts to get aggressive. Blaine hits her on the back of the head when she tries to escape, just like he did to Camilla. The singer unlocks her phone and sends her mother a message saying she's going out of town. Blaine puts her body in a bag and throws her into a nearby river before sneaking back into the house where Sandra sleeps. Oblivious to what he's just done, she wakes up shortly after and sees the message from her daughter saying that she's not coming to the wedding and is leaving town for a while. Over the coming days, she feels uneasy about it, but Blaine tries to persuade her to do what makes her happy and forget about her daughter. All the while, it is revealed that Sophie hasn't bitten the dust just yet. She regains consciousness at the riverbank and stumbles to the roadside where she hitchhikes back home. She enters and meets Ange in the kitchen. She tries to warn her about Blaine, but he knocks the family friend out. Sophie fights him off and gets to her mother's room and locks it. She calls the police before informing her mother about everything that has transpired. Blaine gains access to the room and tries to convince Sandra to believe him. He pushes her out of the way and attacks Sophie when it looks like the mother is not believing him. Seeing his true nature, Sandra grabs a statue and hits him over the head with it, knocking him out. The mother and daughter hold each other as the sirens approach. In the aftermath, the mother and daughter recover from their ordeal and even invite Penny to play her song at the busy cafe, bringing the movie to an end.